So this is the Deff Ed Dice Spring Friendly Round 1 Recap Part 1. Basically, I want to do a video like Rules We Got Wrong, like they do at Mini Wargaming, but include a little bit of extra information. So, threw this together, and we'll sort of see what people think about it, and see if it's worth the extra time and effort if people like it. So, into a couple quick comments. Mr. Ben Sunny said you can't have 2 Cyclone missile launchers in a 5-man Terminator squad. You are correct. His list actually says it only had 1. I don't know why I got my head in it had 2. So that was just me being incorrect. Hybrid Soldier 629 has says spore mines move independently of their clusters? Question mark. I'm the only one. He's the only one in his group that plays, and I keep moving them as a cluster in one spot all the time. No, you can move them around. So the observant people have seen on the left-hand side, I've got statistics from the game. So I basically went through, tracked all the hits and wounds in both the shooting and the assault phase, as well as the saves they've made. Now, it's definitely not perfect, and again, the wounds and such will be kind of, it will be a little bit hard to track just because of the different toughnesses, but I figured I'd get a quick overview just to take a look at it. Fulcrum said, I know it's a friendly game, but why waste 60 points on spores? And it's all about how Phil being able to control the setup area, because those spores get deployed before Richard got to set up, so you can sort of control where they go. And XX Luff XX79 or XXZ said, why do you spell Phil with an F? It's PHIL, and it's just a joke in our gaming group. We just call him Phil. Okay, and Ben1181 says, I really like your videos. Thank you. I would suggest using more terrain. And Richard replied, talking about how he wanted to keep the lines of fire open. And we all commented about how sparse the table looked. It looked almost like you were playing Warhammer Fantasy rather than 40k. Sasha 8 Sash and Kev Locked both commented about how the Termagants shouldn't have been pinned. Because they were within the synopsis range, and that was correct. Phil just missed that one. And J Reiko 528, when measuring, always measure from base front to base front. Those dreadnoughts were running across the table like demons. I don't think that was done intentionally. I think sometimes we all sort of forget that a little bit. So, and actually, there's another game where that was relevant as well. Prevalent, sorry. And on to the next part. Ben 1181 commented, Space Marine player needed more volume of fire, and he had some bad luck. And I think if you look at the overall stats, he did okay. If you look at the average, I think he just had some key saves that he missed. Like there was one, I think in turn 2, he lost 2 Terminators on 3 shots, which having rolled, because he rolled 2 1s, that's just a little bit of bad luck. He commented, but he always has bad luck. But I played him recently, and it was a very close game. And he's also new to 40k, so this I think was one of his first games. So it's I don't know if it's a good thing or not. It was the first one we filmed. And then K Ricio 621 says, imagine that you didn't film the Terminators. The Termagants versus Dreadnought, because the Termagants didn't attack, and that's correct. That's what we're seeing right here. Basically, the Termagants couldn't do any damage, so we didn't bother filming it. And so overall, I think they've missed the last turn. I'm not sure. I think it was just they were so eager and they missed it. But if we look at the stats again, this are just really looking at average of all of them over the game. They both, the Marines were hitting just a little bit below their average, but the shooting on the Tyranids was pretty high, which I think was unusual. But we'll go into the Orc game now. So this is the game with myself versus Lesotep. Not as many comments on this one, so you'll notice the comment sections are rolling by a little bit slower. I'm not sure it's because we had less mistakes or there's just less people watched it, because I found this video seemed to have less views, the least amount of views out of all of them, and it may have been just because, well, Les and I have played 2 other games that we filmed. So I did ask a question. We had a unit that was in danger or difficult terrain, and we had half was in, half was out. And the question we asked was, when you're running out of dangerous terrain, do you roll 1 die or 2? And there was a couple of people, including Spidey 0804, commented that it was you only roll 1 die. A couple of people, one other person, it was Chris Grista or Grist. Yeah, I'm not bitter. I apologize, because Chris has been following me from almost day one. He thinks you need to roll 2 dice, and I think at this point, I believe it would be 1, because if you roll 2, you're actually getting a better chance of doing that run out of the terrain, which to me doesn't make any sense. So War Boss 79 said nicely done. Shame the bikes bite the dust so early, and that seems to be a trend with me. Anytime I take bikes, they wind up getting just slaughtered, including the game I played against Matt recently on Mini Wargaming. Ben 1181, why did the Ludus take saves? You're correct. They should not have taken save with only their 3+ armor. The Crimson Essence, a Nob can only attack 3 after the first assault phase, as he doesn't get the bonus for Slugga because of the Power Claw. And that is correct. I should have been only rolling 3 dice on the attack rather than the 4, so that was a mistake on my part. And overall, I think Les and I had a good game. I think Les was a little upset that he drew me in the first game, considering this tournament. Considering every time I've played him, I've managed to beat him. So overall, stats-wise, the Orcs seem to be doing a little bit better. The Necrons seem to be doing well with their reanimation rolls as well. So this was actually, like I said, this was a bit of a rerun for a lot of people because we've played this list 3 times now. Salad Tom had 2 things he wanted to point out. There was, one, I think that the Immortals did their 4+ save against the Ludus, but then at the end, the Ludus didn't give the Immortal a save. Mortals actually have a 3+ save, so if we were shooting at them, they should have. I think the second time I was shooting at the Warriors that have that 4+, and because the Ludus is a AP4 weapon, they wouldn't have got their save. So with the Immortals, they would get it. Against the Warriors, they wouldn't. Second, did the Scarabs do their special armor lowering attack because I thought the vehicle was destroyed when the owner hit his armor 0? They did. They did have that. And of course, I can't remember the name of the rule off the top of my head right now. But they did do that. But they needed to bring the armor down by 10. It would have brought it down around all sides. I believe he only got I think he got 9 hits. If I remember correctly, or maybe we did it 14. I'd have to go back and look at it. We may have did it 14 and assumed it was against the front armor when it should have been against the rear armor. Which then if that's the case, Salad Tom, you're exactly correct. If we did it against the front armor and we did 13 hits, then we might have I may have misspoke. But either way, it popped anyway, so it wasn't a big deal. Overall, the tournament's going pretty good so far. We've been happy with the results. We've got the first part of game 2 done. Our first game of round 2 done. We just need to go back and do the second game. So here I've added the reanimation protocol roll. So if at 56%, so 10 out of 18, because of the resurrection orbs, he was able to get above average, and his shooting's pretty good. Orcs definitely above average for the shooting. So thanks for watching, and at this point I'd like to see if you could put a comment on what you thought about this. Please let me know. I don't mind doing these videos, but to be honest, this one took a fair bit of time because you have to go back and collect all the statistics and then try to get all the comments in. So I don't mind doing it, but if there's some value to it. So and always click on subscribe so you see more videos. Like it if you like the video, and stay tuned for part 2 of this video within the next couple days.